JJ, you've had a lot of games recently where the second half kind of pick things up and were able to either get back in the game or ultimately get the lead. What did you see different tonight in Phoenix?
They scored on the first 13 possessions of the second half.
Did you see anything connecting those defensive possessions that wasn't to your liking?
They had about a 140 offensive rating. They had a 1.43 offensive rating when they touched the paint. So they touched the paint on every possession, basically. We couldn't keep them out of the paint.
You guys had that time where you had some practice time coming off the NBA Cup quarterfinal, and defense was a point of emphasis. How much was point of attack, perimeter defense, something that was diagnosed with the group? And when it's happening in real time, like, what are your kind of options as the coach?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly talk about containing the basketball at the point of attack, with our pickup points and, guarding your yard. Overall, the sort of execution, it's when your margin for error is not super high. You need to be able to. It's like very detailed to be able to execute, and when we do it, we can string together some good defensive possessions. We didn't do that at all tonight, and we tried zone. They got a layup and an open three. I don't know why we were guarding Mark Williams at the 3-point line when they got the three, and didn't get the ball iced in pick and roll. On the second possession of zone, they got middle, didn't go under. They got a layup. So it's like, again, you don't do the things, we're trying to do to sort of protect and keep the ball on the side, then you get exploited. And I think we've had some games where we did things well, but I think the theme with our team again is like these young teams that move. We just can't move. So it's like we're stuck in mud. Zone didn't work, and then we went to a 15 in the second half, 1 through 5 switching. That didn't work. So at that point, you're out of options.
You guys, I think it's 28 games now. It's the first time all season you lost consecutive games. What does that say about kind of the character of your group that you made it more than a third of the season before this happened?
Well, the guys have been great about responding to challenges, whether that's been injuries, a loss, a poor performance. But, it's got a lot of games left. So we got to continue that trend, and we got to stick together. I told the guys, I really just want them, it's coming off these 2 games. You're not going to have a good taste in your mouth, and you're going to be thinking about how you played, how the team's playing. It's like I told them, detach tomorrow, be with your family, enjoy the holiday. We'll all come with the right mentality on Christmas.
Just a quick follow-up. I know it's next man up, and you don't use excuses for guys being out, but I think this is 17 starting lineups now in 28 games.
It's weird because you guys kept asking me about the starting lineup in preseason.
And you predicted that it might be different.
So weird.
Take out the I guess it's less about the starting lineup than just the rotation, like number of guys that
we've had 2 healthy games, yeah.
But how much does that affect the 5 on a string, right? When it's a different lineup every night, and without again using it as an excuse.
I think there's probably a touch of that, but we practice this stuff enough, we review this stuff enough, we show film on this stuff enough that to me it like comes down to, this is the noisiest press conference I've ever been a part of. It comes down to like just making the choice. It's making the choice. There's shortcuts you can take, or you can do the hard thing, and you can make the second effort, or you can sprint back, or you can't. It's just a choice, and there's a million choices in a game, and you're very likely not going to make every choice correctly. But can you make the vast majority of them correctly? That gives you a chance to win.
How much of that is what I wasn't going to ask this, but you brought it up. How much of that is like the conscious decision to make the choice versus just sort of like, this is who I am as a player, and I always make like the choice to play hard? Like, is there a difference between a team where you have to remind to be physical, to play hard, to play with intention, versus guys maybe like Phoenix? They have certain players. Like I think a Goody, for instance, is like a guy who just, that's how he plays.
Yeah, that's accurate.
does this group have enough as currently constructive guys who just like play that way? And
No.
how do you with the guys in that room, can you get enough consistent effort to get to where you guys need to be defensively?
I think so.
Kind of to that theme, I mean, you said it's one of your previous answers. You said you guys just don't have the foot speed to keep up with some of these young teams. To Dan's questions, he was asking about just the effort. Is it get more concerning when those choices, to your point, you said choices, when those choices just aren't being made consistently, like that?
It's not concerning. It's just, again, that's why I said it's the hard choice, and it's not the easy choice. It's human nature. We all do it. We do it on a daily basis. We make easy choices because it's comfortable. Comfortable doesn't win.
Dave asked about the ball containment. I was wondering more so about the off ball or even the help defense. How would you evaluate, not just tonight, but overall where you guys are at in terms of that area of defense, helping not just the initial help, but also helping the helper? It seemed like tonight.
Well, we had a guy the other day who hasn't played a lot who didn't know what a flood was in the middle of a game. So we're clearly, when we're not healthy and we haven't been healthy, we clearly have some room to grow in that area.
A little bit of housekeeping. Do you have an update on Jackson?
He tweaked his ankle soreness. He had tweaked it when we were here last week. So it just a retweak. He fell on it, and it's sore.
And what did you think of Austin's minutes?
It's hard to get. I mean, it was good to see him on the court. I'll just say that. It was good to see him on the court, and, I thought he had some nice drives.
Marcus, you guys have seen this team a few times now. They seem to give you guys some of your worst losses of the season, granted, of 9, I think, at this point. What about them is such a tough matchup for you guys specifically?
They play really hard. They play together, and they just leave it all out there. And no matter what happens, they keep going. They do a really good job at that. With something we gotta fix on our end, and take a little bit out their book in that standpoint.
When we spoke with JJ, some of the things he talks about for you guys defensively, I mean, it's just effort, execution, a lot of things we've talked about after a lot of your guys' losses. What is the pathway for you guys to become just a better defensive team than what you've shown through, I think, 28 games so far?
In this league, it's so many games that, you try your best every game. Some games you have these games. But for us, it's just figuring out, what we do well, what we struggle with, and try to harper down on and try to fix it. It's really nothing the coaching staff can do. They do a good job of putting us in the position to win. We got to figure it out as players. And we will. It's just right now we're struggling, and every team goes through it. Right now it's our time.
JJ was talking about how in a game there's always going to be 100 different kind of decision moments, and a lot of those decisions are hard decisions you have to make to make the second effort to rotate over. How do you think this team is doing at confronting and facing some of those hard choices?
We doing shit. We being real shitty right now, and it's showing. But like I said, it's our turn. Every team goes through it, trying to figure it out. You just pray that it happens early, and we can fix it before it's too late. But yeah, there's really no defense, no scheme we can do when we're giving up offensive rebounds in crucial moments like we are, or guys that getting wherever they want on the court. And there's no help, there's no resistance, there's no urgency. So it's tough. And JJ's right. There's really nothing he can do. It's on us. We appreciate the coaches for everything they do, but it's on us when it comes down. Ultimately, we got to figure it out.
How do you, as a leader on this team, encourage and keep your teammates in the mindset to consistently make those hard choices over and over and over a course of a game?
First off, just trying to do it by example. Taking charges, putting my body on the line every night, leaving it all on the court with my play. I think that's going to be the primary way. For me is to go out there and lead by example, and just continue to talk to guys. Even though sometimes they might not want to hear it, especially when we lose and nobody wants to hear it, myself included. But I also understand that It's integral for us to hear those things, to see and to be able to talk to one another and figure it out as players on the court because we're the ones out there. So, but for me, I'm gonna just keep going out there and lead by example.
How would you evaluate the player-to-player accountability? Kind of like to your point, what you're saying, that guys hearing out what needs to be corrected and then coming out after that conversation or whatever it is you want to call it. And then
We've been doing a good job with it. It's just, we get on the court and things happen so fast, and we're all humans. But in those huddles, we're talking. We're talking about what we need to do, what we see, what we can fix, and we're trying to go out there and do it. It's just we got to go out there with a little bit more urgency to do that, especially to start the half. I think they scored the first 13 possessions. Stuff like that can't happen. We got to be better. And it's difficult. In this league, everybody can play. And everybody works on their game, and everybody comes out and they want to win and they want to do good. So especially playing against the Lakers, you're definitely going to get everybody's best game every time. It doesn't matter what the percentages say. It doesn't matter what the numbers say. You can't go by that. We got to go by understanding that we wear the Lakers across our jersey, and everybody's coming to try to kill us.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you, guys.
Jake, Phoenix is a team that you guys have struggled with, I guess, with 2 of the 3 matchups. Is there something defensively that's most concerning about this game compared to, I guess, your other games where you guys have struggled on that end of the floor?
I think we just lacked physicality a little bit, effort. They were getting a lot of second chance rebounds, and I don't know how many points they got off second chance, but they were getting a lot of extra possessions. I think the second and third quarters when they scored, majority 38 and 45, which is unacceptable. Obviously, we just gotta be better. That's all it is. We're regroup and get ready for the next game.
You may have been in here when I asked Marcus this, but I'll ask you, how would you evaluate the player-to-player accountability is right now, just in terms of when you guys make these mistakes? Like Marcus said it, the coaching staff can only say so much, but ultimately it's on you guys to just do it, whether it's effort, scheme, whatever it may be. Where's the accountability in terms of just player-to-player right now?
Yeah, I mean, even the same with, the coaches can only say so much. Players can only say so much to each other as well. At the end of the day, each individual guy that steps onto the court has to, know what their job is and do their job at the end of the day. So we're all professionals. We're all professional athletes that have, played in the NBA before. We understand, what the game is. So, a player can talk to another player and tell him, do better or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's on that player to just come out and do their job.
Jake, you've made it this far into the season. This is the first time you guys have lost 2 consecutive games. What does that say about kind of the team's ability to? Did you not know that?
I didn't know that. No.
What does that say about kind of this team's ability to, in general, bounce back, and what can you kind of take from that?
Yeah, I mean that's I think that's pretty good. I didn't know that. So. Us being able to bounce back is definitely a thing that you have to be able to do in this league. And, now that we've, dropped 2 consecutive games, we just got to regroup and focus on this Christmas Day game because it's my first Christmas Day game, so we got to win.
Just, I guess, following up on that Christmas Day game, just what does it mean for you to be able to play on this stage? Thursday.
I mean, I think it's going to be really fun. I just remember growing up watching the Christmas Day games and how cool the environment was. So now being able to play in a Christmas Day game with the Lakers, nonetheless, very excited for it. So,
do you remember any specific games growing up?
It would be the Knicks-Celtics games, and I think one of them was Bulls-Lakers. So, I mean, that was like Rose, Kobe, and like Melo and Pierce. Great games.
When you thinking about this matchup with Houston, one of the few West teams you haven't seen yet, and it's a really big team, really athletic team, how do you guys kind of meet that physical challenge and kind of the contrast of what you guys have on your team?
Yeah, I mean, this is 100% going to be one of those games where we have to come out and be the more physical team from the jump. They have a huge lineup, obviously. They got a lot of guys that crash, create extra possessions for their team. A lot of talented players on that team, so we just got to collectively come in as a unit and just play together on both sides of the ball.
The last one on Christmas. Do you have certain, whether it's extended family or friends, that maybe don't get the chance to watch nightly, but will be in the house and tuned in for your first Christmas game? Do you feel like that there's any heightened level to that here for you?
Probably. I would assume so. From my eyes, I'm going to view it as just another game. But, it is a Christmas Day game, and only a select, few teams get to do that. So I'm just very excited for this opportunity.
Austin, you missed the 3 games. Just how did you feel physically after being out for that time?
I was pretty tired first couple of minutes, but after that, felt pretty good.
Looked like, and LeBron's saying that anytime you miss any amount of time, it's going to take a little bit to find a rhythm. Did you feel like you started to get that in the second half with some of those drives and finishes inside?
Yeah, I thought I caught a decent rhythm in the second quarter too. Getting to the rim, but it's going to take time. Yeah.
And is this something now that you got back on the floor? You were explosive. Like were you able to kind of get past where you didn't have to think about the calf?
Yeah, I was out there just playing basketball. Felt good.
What do you think of the coaching decision to have you come off the bench tonight, and just how was it explained to you, I guess?
It got brought up during my shooting time. Me and Bo was just talking about it, and I said that I understood either way. It's hard to start, especially with the rotations that we have, for me to start and only played. I was on a minute restriction. I don't know if y'all know that, but it's hard for me to start with the rotation that Brian has, for me to stay around that 25 to 27 minute mark. So it got brought up in my shooting time. I said that I was open to whatever. Definitely felt weird coming off the bench, but it's basketball at the end of the day.
What kind of mindset does this team need to have for it to be good enough defensively more regularly than it is right now?
I think it's just a guard with 5, people every possession. Everybody's got to be locked in every single possession, especially on rotations and schemes and stuff like that. We've shown we can do it. We just got to do it, like you said, more regularly.
You expect you might be able to take the minute restriction up a little bit on the Christmas Day game, or do you not know yet?
I don't know. I hope so. I felt good out there, so feel like should be able to just go out there and play.
Sure, you guys have been able to pick things up, especially defensively. You did it last game here. Why do you feel like you weren't able to go there tonight?
The offense was clicking. Our defense wasn't. That's literally what it was.
You've been through, pretty much everything you can be on the court at this point. JJ said you can't use an excuse, all the different starting lineups, all that. That's kind of part of the game. Do you feel like, though, there's a certain number where you guys need to have the same guys on the floor for a certain amount of time for you to get to click at the level that you need?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not an excuse, because you got to play the game that's in front of you, whatever the case may be, and you got to go out and execute. So, we try to do that. Obviously, we didn't. We came up short. We failed that in that aspect. So, we understand that the most important thing in this league is definitely health, and we just hope to get whole at some point.
What's the pathway for this group of players to be better defensively?
It's the same thing I've said, before. It has to be 5 guys on the string, and these guys also made a lot of mid-range contested twos too. And those are part of our keys that we're willing to give up. It's the fast break points, it's the second chance points, it's the open threes that we do not want to give up. But this is a good mid-range shooting team. Book hit some. The kid Boyer off the bench hit some. Dylan Brooks hit some. They played exceptionally well. So you give them kudos to that.
They're a team that kind of sort of, and there's a handful in the league that just kind of like inherently play pretty hard every night. It's a part of what they are, and you guys kind of reach those levels every once in a while, but like you do it differently. Where do you think this team is at against those types of energy teams, and how big of a challenge is that for this group?
Well, every team is constructed differently, obviously. Personnel kind of dictates how you can play, how you would like to play, how you would like to execute. I think we've had some good times, we've had some bad times throughout the season where we've matched the energy of a lot of teams that play like this, and sometimes we haven't, and it's resulted in either a win or a loss. And quite frankly, sometimes you also play extremely hard like that, and you still don't get it done. Like the other night versus the Clippers, I mean, we not saying that they're on the same, they play the same way as the Suns, but we went out and played as hard as we could, and we still just came up short. So you just try to take, you take the bad. You look at some of the good from each and every game and see how you can get better from it.
Injuries can kind of create like a whack-a-mole situation in terms of trying to figure out, what you're missing from the lineup. But how can you make sure that that doesn't discourage the group and still kind of be growth mindset and knowing that, yeah, some of the circumstances here are our control, but there are other things that we can still
just go out and get better every night. That's it.
Did you feel like Austin started to get things going in that second half a little bit, just getting some minutes under his belt again?
Yeah, for sure. It don't matter if it's one game or two. It's a rhythm thing. When you're on a rhythm and you get an injury or whatever the case may be, or it just takes a little bit more. It takes time to get back. So it took him a half to kind of get that rhythm going, get his feet up underneath him again. But he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
You guys got 28 games through the season before you lost consecutive games. Does that say anything about the character of this group?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously you don't want to keep stacking L's. That's for sure. So hopefully we can get back on the winning way soon.
Is there a reason why you think like when the nights you guys haven't had it? Like, I mean, you guys have really not had it. I don't think you guys have lost a close game still yet this season.
I don't know. I have no idea.